Hello, guys. It's High Priestess Jamila. I finally got a second. Uh, I've just been incredibly busy. Today is the 11th of June, and I am preparing to move or relocate in less than a month. I'm not going to give the exact time frame that I'm moving, but within less than a month, basically. So I've been packing and organizing and doing all those things in preparation for going back home, which I am uber excited about. Uber excited. Okay. So, but, and I'm getting ready to record some readings for TikTok actually. I just haven't figured out if I'm going to like base those readings based upon a retrograded planet or just if I just do like freelance, just kind of who the I think I'd rather go with the whole planetary thing. Okay. But hey pretty Phoenix, hello sis. But I'll figure that out. Um I just had to get everybody that is in the summer solstice circle kind of stabilized and um getting that going and keeping that going. So um I wanted to answer a question um, that I know is floating around out there. Sometimes I can, not sometimes, all the time, I can hear and pick up with my sixth sense um, the subconscious thoughts of others. Okay, I'm a Cancer sun on the cusp of Gemini, so I'm very good at reading people and what they're thinking, and even large groups of people. And there's been quite a bit of trolling and then exposing of my current court cases and things that I am dealing with, which, like I said, the controlled opposition or either the rivals that I have on here, they sure do like to watch my pockets, don't they? And they've been doing this for years through a series of trolling. And the one thing, and sometimes I feel like it's professional trolling as well, that is being done to expose, what legal problems or issues that I'm dealing with. Um, which I believe that the reason why it's being talked about and it's being made to sound worse than what it actually is so that people can either, uh, I guess, look better or maybe steal business from me, block bust on me. And I think that what goes along with that is fear, this fear factor of High Priestess Jamila is cursed and these things are happening because she's cursed. And how is she going to help you spiritually if she's cursed? Just like the same thing with years ago, that there was this whole consciousness started by a rumor and incorrect spiritual information where it was said that witches can't practice witchcraft for others if we're not married. And then they moved the goalposts for the unmarried people to say that, well, you don't have any witchy power uh, if you haven't bought a house yet or if you don't own your property. So that's pretty much what has been occurring. And first of all, I wanted to come and state that that is totally not true. That a witch can have a legal situation at any time and still practice as a witch. Having a legal situation is not the result of a curse or either somebody's protection not being good enough or a person not knowing what they're doing. Um, Unfortunately, and we all have had to deal with adversity at some point. It's just that when it comes to rivals and competitors on this website, they are constantly trying to put the scope on me and not on themselves. Because I can guarantee you that if you were to find out about what they're going through, it's probably much worse. Okay. So, us witches, depending on the situation, can go through things. Yes, we can. It doesn't mean that we can't do work for people. And it doesn't mean that some kind of energy is going to bleed into your life and curse you. And, you know, it just, and then also the whole thing with the bankruptcy thing is kind of ridiculous. There's a lot of people that need to grow up and be more mature. Bankruptcy does not mean that you are spiritually bankrupt. It doesn't mean that you're broke. It costs a lot of money to file bankruptcy. Um, and unfortunately, when you are dealing with other corrupt organizations, or when you are dealing with organizations and businesses that are corrupt and they are taking certain actions against you, you have to live and you have to learn and you have to breathe through that process, right? You really, really do. Because there are people out here in this world that if you have a life or you're living life, they will try to take certain actions against you. That's just like, um, there's this lady over in Texas who, for some reason, she wants free money and she wants the right to be able to take 40% of my mother's, what's left of her estate. And no, at the time that my mother passed away, I didn't go back home. I was under duress during that time. I was under severe duress under that time and had to deal with that. And so, it's not newsworthy to say, hey, you know, um, you didn't get probate on the house, which you didn't get probate and you didn't get to sell the house, which is, I mean, regardless to if I were living in the home at the time and assuming the mortgage at that time, if you try to get probate on a property and the mortgage is not paid at that time, not that it wouldn't have gotten paid, trust me, it would have gotten paid. Um, they still would the mortgage company would have still foreclosed on it immediately if it were not paid. So it was something that could not be helped. Doesn't make me a weak person because I was distraught over my mother. That was my mother. And a different avenue was taken altogether that again was being undermined by people who I believe were already stalking me. Because what are the odds? What are the odds that this would happen and then the people that it's happening from would have that troll spirit about them? Just kind of like, I don't know, sort of unrelenting and unrealistic and just weird. So, you know, um, I'm not going to discuss the details of it, of course, because the less that these stalkers know, the better, right? Um, that doesn't mean that I can't do work for people. You know, it kind of, I mean, even if you were Christian or Buddhist or whatever, there's either prayer or intentions being set via prayer or however you set your intentions at the time that a legal problem arises. And then, hopefully you have your ancestors that are there. And, then there's prayer and there's things that are done, hopefully within the correct time frame so that you can have justice, which is just, and, not have somebody else in the legal system be able to screw you over. You know what I'm saying? Because, so I say this, the reason why I say this is because it's been very weak, in my humble opinion, and pathetic of my adversaries for them to even try to use pending court cases and issues to try to prove what? I mean, they had already hired a troll network to flag and get my channel blacklisted. And then they followed me over to TikTok to continue to try to blacklist my TikTok. So, being as though I am a believer in a higher power that loves me as well as spirit, and I believe in myself as well as my ancestors, I know that that thing is not going to work out for those people. It ain't going to work out for them. It's just not, because it's not fair and it's not just, okay, for people to do that. So they had already done that. And then they decided to start to try to use common, very common issues post pandemic, to try to expose and then bend and spin the narrative of what I am dealing with my court cases, and then trying to take advantage of me and exploit me. So again, those things are not going to work out for those people because I know that I am going to survive it. I know that I'm going to survive it because, well, number one, I'm a good person. I love my family. I take care of my family as much as I can. I work so hard and have always worked hard for the past 30 something years of my life. And I don't deserve that. I don't deserve to have somebody commit crimes against me and to abuse their power against me on such a high level. And that's what I've been dealing with. And I've been dealing with it. I have been. And so, um, that doesn't mean that I should shut down my business. You know, um, they are desperate because they think that it's going to somehow help them to get rid of me, which is ridiculous because I'm a trailblazer. They thought that it was somehow going to benefit them to somehow shut me down, which it has been no benefit. It hasn't benefited this world. It hasn't benefited anybody for their actions that they're taking. They even told me that I should shut down my business because I couldn't control a grown man. So that means that I'm not a real witch because I can't control, nor do I have a desire to control the actions of someone else. And then I'm supposed to be scapegoated on for his actions, which, if you know anything about the occult, that's exactly the type of malarkey that us witches deal with because that's not fair. And it's not my religion to believe in that. Okay, what is in my belief is not only to protect women and children from, I mean, my goodness, I mean, just about every single evil that mankind could have done to me was done to me. And everybody has an interest to be rooting for me, because if they're able to do those things to me, then they can do it to you. Okay? And I have far more knowledge spiritually than a lot of the people that are trying to go against me, because I feel like if they actually had any spiritual knowledge, they wouldn't send people to troll me. Like, that's kind of ridiculous, if you ask me. And I feel that it can go along the lines of terrorism, if you ask me again. So, I would never do that to another person. Um, and so I know that blessings will always come to me immensely. Okay. And I run a fair business where I would never treat a person like that. I think that everybody should be concerned about businesses becoming corrupt. I mean, there was a case, I look at a lot of different stuff, y'all. There was a case of that was filed against a restaurant. And I'm not going to, like, when I, because I don't want to be guilty of spreading rumors or doing something, but these restaurants where people are going in and they're eating poisonous food. There's a popular mushroom that has to be prepared in a certain way, otherwise it can be dangerous, it can be deadly. And there's a restaurant that just recently killed like 2 or 3 people by not preparing this mushroom correctly, and people ate it and died, right? And so, I think that when it comes to the integrity of how people are doing business, I think that not only do I have an interest in that for my own health and safety and my family's, but you all as well. I believe a popular restaurant chain just recently, it was a franchise that had deaths from food related poisoning just recently. So the integrity of business should be upheld to the highest of the highest. And that's all businesses, because they can potentially hurt people. And that's not right to do that. I don't believe in harming people. And there's nothing wrong with being a good person. And just because I'm into the occult doesn't mean that I believe in doing harm to people. Okay, so those are very strong convictions that I stand by. Now, if somebody is in a position to where they can do a lot of harm to you and they're abusing their power, I believe that they should be reprimanded. I believe that there should be justice for people, especially people that are being marginalized. And we all are. Okay, some groups are being marginalized more than others, but all of us are being marginalized when you think about it. So to answer the question, yes, that's just like I did spiritual work for people while I lived in a hotel. I was doing spiritual work for people. Can do spiritual work for people no matter what the circumstances is. And for people to try to gaslight the public and try to make other people shun other people, and going around trying to put that thought process out there that somebody's cursed. I mean, I can honestly say, as somebody that knows about a lot, a lot. I know a lot, and I just learned more. And I'm learning every day that a person, even a high priestess, I wouldn't say they can be cursed. You can have the risk of having something happen to you, or you can see it coming at you. I always see things coming, though, right before it happens. Um, but those, you can be cursed every day. Somebody can try to or attempt to curse you on a daily basis. Does that mean that that's going to happen? No, it doesn't. So you have to believe in what you believe in and stick with it. Okay? Find a comfy spot and pick a side and stick with it. At least we know that I'm stable as far as what my beliefs are, and I'm not going to change that belief, even if people don't like it. Even if people don't like it, you know what I'm saying? And people don't like it. I've been discriminated against a lot, and it's not real. It's not real power when someone makes a decision to take away your civil and constitutional rights based upon how they feel about your beliefs. So that's not real power they're using to begin with. That's false. Anytime you, in my humble opinion, blatantly deny somebody their constitutional rights and their rights under the law. So those rights were created for a reason. And I truly feel that people that are with the church, people that label themselves as Christians or label themselves as any other religion, need to think about that. They need to really, really, really think about that and think long and hard about how that's not God doing that. That's you doing that. And it's wrong for you to do that. And you can be prosecuted for that. You can be found out. You can't just violate my rights, my civil rights, my constitutional rights, because I am a witch and because I am pagan and because I'm not religious. You can't do that. And that's a reality that people have to face. When you come to social media, you're not going to find, let me reword that. When you come to social media, what you're going to find is you're going to find a lot of people that are confused, scared, diabolical. But what you don't realize is that if you claim to be a witch, your rights can be taken away from you too at any time. And that's all you see, a lot of that going on is us being discriminated against everywhere. So if you're not on that side, then you can't benefit from the revolution that is happening because it needs to happen, and it's been long overdue because we've been discriminated against lifetimes for being witches and shamans, and it doesn't make any sense, and we shouldn't be that something like this happens. This kind of stigmatization is still happening, and it's not right. That's just like I wouldn't discriminate. I don't feel that Christians should be discriminated against either. I don't feel that your rights should be taken away from you. Now, I feel that if you are attacking somebody and you're being unfair and unjust with your religion, then I'm going to say, okay, what actually is happening here, and assess the situation and settle the situation whether or not it's based upon spiritual law or man's law, right? Because let's face it, you know, I will say that, Christians, they do feel that they have the right sometimes to violate the rights of others based upon their religious beliefs and spiritual practices. And that does happen a lot. Now, if you come to me as a Christian and you get work done from me, I'm going to advise you of certain things that you should not do. For example, if your ancestors were not Christian, or if your ancestors that are going to help you are not on certain sides of that, then I'm going to advise you of that. If I feel that Christianity is not going to help you, I'm going to tell you that. I'm going to be honest with you. I come from a long line of shamans, indigenous people. They were not Christian. My ancestors were not Christian. So why would I be Christian? What that wouldn't make any sense. And why would I have to lie about that? I'm not here to do harm to anybody. I just think that these things should be fair and there shouldn't be any discrimination based upon a person's spiritual beliefs. And that's happening a lot. And then my spiritual beliefs don't harm me or my family. They don't. I don't have a spiritual belief that, you know, if needed, myself or my children couldn't get a blood transfusion. I don't have that belief. That's very harmful for you to believe, for you to not believe in blood transfusions. But there's some people that do. And there's other beliefs that people have that they do carry out that I don't believe in. In what I feel is fair and what I feel unjust in my reality that other people feel is fair and just may not be the same for me. But the one thing that I don't come from is a place of hate because people that have hate are blind. So, no, I don't have a hate for anybody. I feel that can we coexist? Am I into that coexisting thing? Absolutely, when it comes to certain things. When it comes to certain things. However, I still do feel that when you have that mixture of it, I still feel that just because somebody has a certain belief system doesn't mean that they should just be casted out. Like it should be based upon laws and it should be based upon what is fair. Okay? What is fair to begin with. And no, I don't believe in people being able to just mistreat and degrade and cast out and punish somebody just because they are a witch. And that is the revolution that apparently needs to happen because I feel personally that that is why I have been so heavily discriminated against. And it didn't happen to me until I moved to the South, right? So what's really going on here? Does that mean that the laws that are meant to protect us don't protect me too? And they should protect me. So, and that's pretty much what's happening here, is that, people are, they have a foundation in hate, and that hate needs to be neutralized. A lot of you guys that are having problems, at the foundation of that is fear and loathing and hate. And so that should be the job of the person that you're going to neutralize that, right? But then also there's other things that are happening right now that have to be addressed by someone that knows what they're talking about, or knows what they're doing, or has a clear head, and has an understanding of it. Okay. So, that, to me, um it's unfair that throughout the years, people that, and I still don't understand it, because I felt like those people were directly trespassing on me and felt like they were entitled to do so. Oh, you shouldn't go to her because she is not married, or you shouldn't go to her for your spiritual work because she hasn't bought a house yet, or you shouldn't go to her for her spiritual work because of blah blah blah. And it's just been ridiculous, and then there was the smear campaign. The things that I went through, the average person wouldn't have survived it, along with crowd hate and energy being projected and directed towards me and my children. That, and I'm very grateful, that are still alive and doing well. I'm grateful that my children can call me and say, "Hi, mom. I love you, mom." I'm so grateful for that. You know what? I'm grateful to myself and my ancestors for that, because yes, throughout the years, my children's lives have been threatened, along with mine has been threatened. And I figured out why. You know what I mean? But I also figured out, and even knew back then, that I could protect my offspring. Okay. So, anyway, so yeah, the legal issues that I'm dealing with definitely can still do work for people. No, I am not cursed. I don't even know why. I think that when a person is cursed, they're typically not doing the right thing. That's when I feel like there's some kind of negative spirit that's taking that person off their path, essentially. Okay. And being a witch and practicing witchcraft does not automatically qualify you for being someone, that's a matter of opinion. So, I'm not going to ever come on here and say, "Hey guys, I'm not a witch," or "Hey guys, I've converted to Christianity." I'm not going to do that, because then I wouldn't be true to myself. And what's the point? So, in fact, there have been people that have been blatantly, I guess they look at, money as energy, and I don't look at money as energy. Money is legal tender. That's what money is. Money is a lot more complicated than energy and even the law of attraction. It's a lot more complicated than that. And I'm not going to discuss it right here, but I can tell you that, all these energy vamps are running around here, and, they're saying, well, Jamila is going through this and donate to me. Well, shouldn't I be the one asking for donations? Hey, Jamila's father passed away. Donate to me. Excuse me? And then there's also this thing that's been going around the spiritual community where, if your parent passes away, that, or you have a death in your family, that's somehow your fault, or some kind of, that's, it's a shame on a person. So I don't, for me, guys, that's trolling. That's trolls. That's somebody trolling, and you guys need to be able to recognize an authentic spiritual reading versus somebody trolling you. And it's a lot of people out here trolling and doing readings. They're trolling while reading, while saying that they're doing an authentic psychic reading, but yet they're trolling. That's dangerous. That's dangerous, in my humble opinion. Anybody that has had a reading from me, sometimes the things that we can see, not just your questions, but it's important for people to do authentic readings. Those should be authentic. For example, if I had someone come to me to get a reading, I'm not going to manipulate that reading so that that person will have to buy spiritual work from me just because I need a little extra money. I'm not going to do that. If a person needs work done, I'm going to let them know. But, for the most part, people have been contacting me about my classes, which is fine, but I'm not going to say during every reading, oh, somebody broke you up with your boyfriend and it's a curse on you, which that does happen. It's not a curse every time you break up with your man, or with a man or a woman. That doesn't denote a curse. Sometimes it's time to walk away from that situation. So I'm not going to say to every woman that contacts me, hey, somebody put a curse on you and that's why y'all broke up, and so you need a love spell to bring him back. I'm not going to do that. Now, however, what I will do is very, very, very common. What's very common is that there could be somebody that's doing work on you, and it could be tied up with a man, but that doesn't mean that that's why you had to break up with that man. Sometimes your reason for needing to leave that man is because, well, he wasn't no good for you anyway. He might be in on the treachery, or especially especially when it comes to what's happening within his family. What's going on with his family? Is he acknowledging what's going on in his family? Is his family doing a bunch of crazy stuff? Are they practicing witchcraft? Are they doing certain things? Are they busybodies? Are they, do they attack do they attack this person's partners all the time? Are they, manipulating? Is this person the sacrifice of the family? Does that person see it clearly? Or are they pulling you into this situation that may be dangerous, that you need to pull you and your kids out of? Okay, that's what I can see. And when these things are happening, it is important for you to know that this is happening and how to protect yourself. Okay, it's important because some of these folk, they be up to no good, to the point where I don't really too much am concerned about Hollywood blood sacrifices nearly as much as I'm focused on the general people and the public who are blood sacrifices. Or either you can be an energetic sacrifice, or just somebody that's a punching bag, a doormat for somebody's entire clan or something. They're just kind of punching on you and harming you, and this man or whoever is letting you do it, he's not taking your side against that. Or if it's a woman that just, you're a good man, and this woman comes from a dysfunctional family, and her family and perverted uncles and cousins are attacking you, and she just takes their side and talks to you like you crazy. It can happen on both sides, but it mainly happens to women. So if that's happening to you, and your love partner, somebody that claims to love you, is not taking your side and in fact is participating in this abuse against you, then it's time for you to walk away from that person. That's not, you don't just, there's if that person eventually doesn't wake up to realize that they shouldn't be doing that, like and then making excuses for it. If that person is in love with you and they want to be with you for the rest of their life, and you have a marriage and a communion with one another, that person should take your side and the side of your children over all others. Especially if you're being a good mate to that person and y'all are good to each other. Nobody should be allowing somebody outside of that union to persuade and dictate and manipulate. If that's happening, you with the wrong person. Okay, makes sense to me. And it's a lot with that is connected with oh man, things that most people wouldn't even understand when it comes to people and their families and their bloodlines, because it can go real deep. The rabbit hole can go very, very deep with that. Very deep. To the point where most people wouldn't even understand what's happening in that situation. Okay. So yeah, when the trolls are trolling, yeah, instead of having that distraction, of course this is how I earn a living. I can't afford for trolls to be out here trolling and me paying attention to that, and you know what I'm saying, and not missing opportunities of people coming to me purchasing readings, and you know what I mean. And that, of course, that's what they want, but it's not about what they want, it's about what I want, right? Okay, says Uranus. Everybody has that right. So it depends on how you look at things. If you give people like that power over you, then they always will have power over you. And for me, I like to. I was just thinking about what brother said to me, what brother Will said to me. I love brother Wills. He's funny. He's been trolling, and it's okay because he's having fun. Sis, are you still there? But I've got this thing that's set up over here, and I've been debating on if I should show it because I create these altars all the time, and it's pretty cool. It is kind of, I wouldn't say artistic. It's just, but it is creative because it is connected with some kind of creation. Y'all so silly. So and you know what? I'm gonna ask my spirits if I'm able to show it. If they say no, I won't, because this is a, I've been meditating at it all day and doing work at this altar, and I'm about to do some reading. So I gotta go. But of course, it's that's how I earn a living. Now it does come in through spirit, but I also think that when people are out here lying to the public and you're not getting the correct spiritual information, I do think that that can be harmful, and it's harmful to all of us. It's harmful to all of us, not just me, but I've been doing this for years, and I've been 100% with spirit as far as when it comes to my income. And no, I'm not going to get a job. The job that I get, I'm creating for myself. I'm already looking at commercial spots over in Missouri to open up a botanica or a witchy shop. It's not going to be the spa that I want, which is my ultimate dream, but it'll be something, you know, and it'll be in an area where there's no other witchy shops at, you know, so I wouldn't have to worry about competitors, saying, hey, you're my competition. So I've already been looking at little spots like that, and in particular on in the Westport area of Missouri. And if you're familiar with that area, then it's a very what's the word? It's kind of like a quaint, very old fashioned feel. The Westport area. So those are things that are dreams of mine, and nobody's gonna tell me that what I want to manifest is not gonna manifest. Just like I can't tell somebody else what's gonna. Now, if somebody say, "Hey, Jamila, my ultimate dream in life is to see you, see your family hurt, and to, if that's their ultimate dream, like it's not my ultimate dream to see anybody harmed, because let's face it, nothing has happened to us. Thank the goddess. You know what I mean? Um, but I'm not. If your ultimate dream is to see horrible things happen and to see me not manifest my dreams. And I'm going to say, well, I don't want your dreams to come true. But, those particular things that I want don't affect anybody else. Like, it's not directly going to affect you. So I don't understand what your problem or your issue would be. You know what I mean? So that's kind of weird and strange to me. But, so anyway. Um, I'm not going to close my doors of my business because people need me. And, I'm not going to say, oh, well, I'm only opening up my shop to people that don't have problems. That doesn't even make any sense to me. Like, I think that it takes honesty. I think that if you have done things to people, whether or not it's been to somebody that believes in religion or witchcraft. And I think that if you are actively doing something that you should not be doing, and something happens to where spirit has somehow made it to where if somebody helps you, they get some kickback. Okay. They get some backfiring, right? So that's where clients come in and there's backfiring that's happening. I think that it is the job of that witch to expand their knowledge of, okay, how do I help this person that now has some kind of spirit around them that is not permitting me from actually helping them. So that's where it actually takes spiritual counseling. So you can tell that person, like, hey, because if you're a client and you come to me and you're saying certain things to me or being communicated with me, then I'm able to recognize, hey, you got to switch that up. You got to change that up because that's not going to permit me to help you. You got to clean that up. You know what I'm saying? Doing what you're doing. And, and then you'll get the things that you want and you'll get out of that situation. But, that's rare that happens. Um, but otherwise, I accept clients of all um, economical backgrounds or economical backgrounds. You know what I mean? Um, and I do many, many different things for people. Now, does that mean, if it just I'm not even gonna say that. What I will say is that um, a lot of the stuff that's out here is inaccurate. That's just like uh, it's either inaccurate or it's incomplete. It's just like I was telling one of my clients that from what I have researched about shamanism, what's really happening with shamanism, like what shamans really are or who they really are, you're not going to really find that on the internet, really. You may be able to find somebody that really knows the real deal about shamanism, but you're not going to necessarily, you know, find somebody that's actually really talking about it, like that's going to give you the entire gamut of it. Okay, so and and then some of them are not going to know exactly how to help you or what needs to be done, or even the rituals and the rites of actual authentic shamans, and the witches that they had within their tribes. So and that information and those people are very important. They are, and so it's a lot of debate and controversy around shamanism. Okay, but you know, so yeah. Anyway, that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about, and I'm gonna be moving to Missouri soon. Where I live is not going to make a difference on the quality of the work that you're going to get through me. My prices are not going to change. I heard somebody say that Kansas City, Missouri is impoverished. It's like, no, it's a location where there are people that are of various, economical situations, just like any other place. So being in Georgia didn't make me more magical. And when I go back home, I'm not taking anything from Georgia or stealing anything. I'm not stealing anything. One of the reasons why I even went on this journey to begin with is because my ancestors and are not just in Georgia, but in Florida, uh, Oklahoma. They're in various places that I haven't even traveled to. So that not taking away from anything in Georgia. Like I'm gonna move back home, and to be honest with you, I feel like it's gonna make me stronger now that I'm going back home. Uh, you know, so it's not gonna change anything. My location, okay. This just right now, all I know is that I need to be at home, um, near the bones and the resting places of my ancestors. I'm gonna be honest with you. I needed to go home in 2021. I wish that I were in a position to where I could have just, because I couldn't just abandon everything. I don't know why that I couldn't just abandon everything, right? But I should have been at my mother's funeral. That's in 2021 is when I should have moved. I don't want to say I'm late, but that's where I gotta be. That's where you know, and yeah. And I can still accept client cases. There's nothing up in the air. Taking a client case where you may have somebody that's working death magic on you or roots on you or whatever they call it, it's not going to cause something to happen during my travels back home. It's not like people think all kinds of stuff like, some of you guys' cases are not going to get worked until I am back home. People don't really know when I'm going back home at this point. Um, but just like there are some of you guys that aren't going to be students until I'm back home. You're not going to start your classes until I'm back home. And it just doesn't make a difference. It doesn't. Okay. So, obviously, if I have a client case where you've got an enemy, there's things that are being put into place to ward off that enemy's intention. So it's not, nobody needs to be frozen in time. I'm planning to run my company up until the day that I pack all my stuff up and my movers pull up and they pull this stuff out of here and I'm traveling back home. Okay. So, and I know that the intention of all the hoopla was meant to deflect people away from me, when in reality, I should have been able to make the announcement, hey guys, I plan on moving back home, and I'm not gonna, it's a plan to do that within the next 3 months. That should have been the end of it. It shouldn't have been commentary. It shouldn't have been people putting their 2 cents in. Okay, it's that like that's trolling. I feel like those people were just trolling because at the end of the day, I am still a grown woman. I'm not what's the controversy about it? And so that part right there. Okay, and it was a huge deal when I moved to Georgia. That should have died down. Uh, I don't understand why it didn't. I guess because of codependency. But then my move back, there shouldn't be this debate and hoopla. I don't have chains around my neck and shackles around my feet. That's not a real thing. That's not real because I don't accept it as being real anyway. I'll never accept that. Like, what is that? So, that part right there, too. Anyway, that's pretty much it, you guys. I'm gonna put some readings up on TikTok, and because my creative juices have definitely been flowing. But the readings that you get online, you know, I may see a situation to where somebody may have a special situation going on, and in that reading, I may see that things are going to work out. But those are sample readings. That doesn't mean that that's going to necessarily be 100% the message for you. So if you have something that you need to be addressed, the best thing to do is the personal private readings. Okay. Oh, thank you, Robert Jenkins. I appreciate that. Oh, I know everything is going to go well. This is the best decision that I've made. And I know that Spirit is going to fully support me through the whole process. But thank you. I appreciate you, Robert. Okay. So I'm gonna do that. But aside the fact, yes, I am accepting new clients. Some of you guys, I'm gonna be in the Midwest. The Midwest is a wonderful place. I love the Midwest. Y'all know how happy I'm gonna be when I get back home. And I've been salivating over the snow because I keep watching these videos of people in colder areas with snow, and they get to make snow candy, and I plan on making snow candy when I get back home. Of course it'll be with clean snow that ain't dirty. But I can't wait to go back home. You know what I'm saying? Home is where the heart is. There's nothing wrong with where I came from. You know what I mean? I'm proud of where I came from, and I'm looking forward to going back home. So I'm excited. It's not a bad thing. It's not that I'm moving back because I can't afford to live in Georgia. The cost of living is the same. Georgia is not a more expensive area. In fact, when I first moved to Georgia, it was actually cheaper to live in Georgia. The If you're looking at the housing market, if you're looking at it that way, the housing, I've been looking at houses in Kansas City, Missouri, and uh, pricing is not any different. It's so that's not why I'm leaving. I'm leaving because I want to. I want my family back together. I want to visit my grandmother's house. I want to walk around my old block and you know what I'm saying. And it's and who's to say I'm gonna stay there forever? I may, because I'm planning on buying a home, but just I've learned that just because you buy a house doesn't mean that if you decide that you want to go somewhere else, you can put that house on the market and you can move somewhere else. I might go from Missouri to Kansas to somewhere else. You never know. Okay. So, and that doesn't make me a nomad. It's just that who knows what the future holds, or what decisions might get made. I could end up in Texas one day. You never know. I mean, it just, you know what I mean? So you dyed your hair blue. No, I didn't dye my hair blue. This is just an old picture. My hair is still red. It's still red. My natural hair is dyed red. That's actually a old picture from, what was that, last year that I took. So anyway, I gotta go. This cat is hungry. Whenever I can tell whenever she's hungry because she's okay. I know you're hungry. I gotta go, guys. I gotta feed my cat. So I'll see y'all later because now I'm rambling at this point. Anyway, I advertise my business and my company just like any other company. So that's why when I come on here, when I do readings, um, I can honestly say visit divineservicesapothecary.com. And, you know, that's just what it is. People don't, if you're not going to know that I'm running a business unless I tell you, or that I'm in the business of helping people unless I tell you how to reach me, you know? So, y'all too, y'all have a blessed day as well. Okay. I will catch y'all later. All right. Make sure y'all hit that thumbs up as well because that definitely helps with the algorithm. I appreciate the thumbs up. Okay. All right, guys. Blessings. Bye bye.